Hi, everyone, and welcome to Unmuzzled. I'm your host, Sarah Lauk. Thank you so much for listening and for watching our live feeds. I really appreciate it. We're having a terrific year with great stats, and I really, really appreciate it. And it's all driven by our amazing guests. Coming up very soon, Dan Rubenstein from Pups Pet Club. Up first, a thank you to the sponsors. Thank you so much to our presenting sponsors. Canine Cruise is the place to take your pet. They offer dog and cat boarding, dog daycare, pet retail, and mindful day school. With over 12,000 square feet of indoor space and a spacious yard, they're the one-stop shop for professional pet care in Chicago. Bark Pouch makes mess-free lickable treats for a delightful time with your dogs. Reward good greetings, treat calm table manners, or enjoy a walk together with their easy-to-use pouch. With 5 irresistible all-human-grade recipes in 2 sizes, even picky pups find a favorite. One gentle squeeze and a quick lick of Bark Pouch treats, and you'll enjoy amazing attention, even when you're wearing gloves. Hopefully we're out of winter soon, though. Kiki's Corner Natural Pet Foods in downtown Winfield, just a block south of CDH Hospital on the railroad tracks. Kiki's has all your food and health aid needs for dogs and cats. Kiki's Corner for a healthy, happy pet. Thank you so much, sponsors. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Joining me now is Dan from Pups Pet Club. Dan, I for those of you that listen to the podcast, you know that I'm deep in the pet care business. After just like a year and a half, Dan has been in this for 2 decades. So he and I are going to commiserate. He's probably going to teach me some things here. But Dan, welcome to the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Oh, Sarah, thank you for having me.
Yes.
And it's two and a half decades now.
Wow.
25 years.
Wow. I mean, just incredible. And unfortunately, it started with a rough incident for you with your St. Bernard, Sydney. So can you kind of take us back to the beginning? Because I think that's important. I think anybody that has a business, for me, I have 2 businesses. You've had 5 businesses, maybe more when I was reading up on you. It starts with something that you feel the world needs. I mean, really, same with Live Like Roo Foundation. So again, this is a little bit of a sad story, but can you kind of start from the beginning on how this all started?
Yeah, I certainly can. I was a consultant for Accenture. I was here on a project in Chicago. I had my dog. He was going to a dog park every day during the summer because I was too busy to come home middle of the day and take him out for a walk or really get him the exercise that he needed. He loved it. And then on July 30th, 99, it was a scorching hot day. They took him out that day with, despite my instructions to leave him indoors. And he was a 172-pound St. Bernard. They had him out for 2 hours without water or shelter. And 14 hours later, he was gone. It was a really horrible situation. And I still vividly remember that day. It's imprinted in my mind forever. I was depressed afterwards, terribly depressed. Couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I was at home really just watching movies when my then girlfriend came to get me, and she took me for a run in Lincoln Park. And every dog that I passed, I started getting really emotional. So I stopped. I would ask the pet parent, "Hey, can I pet your dog?" And I would start getting, really choked up just being around their dog. And then I would run from dog to dog, and the thought started running in my mind, I can't let what happened to me happen to anyone else. And it wasn't that long a thought. It was more like, I can't let this happen. I can't let this happen again. I can't let this happen again. And there wasn't really any doggy daycare back then, not in Chicago, at least. If there were maybe 1 or 2. So that's really where the idea of All for Doggies came from. And we started in 99 and it grew into a very popular business. We were featured on every major news station in Chicago and even nationally on NBC, Fox, CBS, ABC, you name it. And about 4 years later, I was homesick. I'm from the New York area. So I decided to sell the business and did so pretty quickly because it was such a popular business. And then moved on to other things for a brief time, not realizing at the time how much I would miss the business, which I truly did. And so I was in New York trading options, believe it or not, and doing some real estate projects. And then a friend of mine showed me a store in Tribeca, and he said, "Well, hey, Dan, you used to do that thing with dogs in New York," and this was late 2004. And he's like, maybe you'd be interested in this store. And so I took a look at it. I immediately was like, okay, this is amazing. This is going to be, a great spot for dogs. And less than a year later, I was back in the business, a company called Spot, and I built that company up to 4 units and did a joint venture deal with another company that had 2 stores on the Upper West Side, and then ended up exiting that business in 2011. Kind of bounced around a little bit after that, did some tech projects with my stepfather down in Florida, but then looked to get back to Chicago for personal reasons. And it ended up in a consulting a gig with a couple of friends who'd started a small private lending business. And I was doing some tech and sales consulting for them, worked for them for almost a year. And then afterwards, I was like, well, what next? I was in my early 40s. I had career entrepreneur plastered all over my forehead. So I really had to start something else. And so I started, walking dogs, training dogs again, and bootstrapped Pups Pet Club. And now here today, we've got 8 stores, and we're about to announce our 9th store here in Chicago sometime very soon.
I love that for a few reasons. I think, you can reinvent yourself. And even you did it in the beginning, in 99. You did it one time and then you do it later in life. And I hear a lot, because I made the decision to quit corporate America because I just could not take it anymore. And it's not like one day I just quit. Like I planned, for months. I paid off all my debt. I made sure I had the proper training. Did I have a business mind? Well, I had a nonprofit that I started to run like a business, which you have to be successful. But like you start everything as a passion, and then you have to learn everything else. And sometimes that's tough for people. But a lot of people say, oh, I could never do that. And that's why I love this podcast, because a lot of people that I have on here have done it, they've reinvented themselves. Maybe one day I'll go back to producing and editing and that kind of thing. But like right now, I'm so happy doing this. And I think for you and your business, because I just started a pet care business, it is booming right now. People love their pets more than ever, and they want the absolute best for them. I saw you have a vet on staff. If there's a problem, you want people to come to you. You want to hear from them. And it is really, really difficult to run a business like this because you have so many different dogs, cats, all kinds of animals with little quirks, and you've got to learn them and you've got to listen to your clients. So I'm sure for you, every day is absolutely different. But what is the biggest lesson do you think that you've learned? And I'll just say, like, since you've opened the pet club.
What's the biggest lesson I've learned since we've opened Pups? Well, I'd say I've learned a lot of lessons, but the biggest lesson probably is I think for me, it's been more or less an evolution in leadership. I think more or less today, it's really, as we scale the business and have grown it, it's really important to continue to stay connected to the people at the front lines, essentially, the men and women who are really caring for the dogs every single day. And it's important that we discuss their challenges and make sure that we are continuing to meet their needs every single day, and they feel supported because if they're not supported, then we're going to fail at our mission, which is trying to, take great care of dogs. If you're not out there trying to enrich the lives of your people, of your pets, and of your pet parents, then you're certainly going to fail in this business. I wouldn't call it. So I don't think I would call that a big lesson. More like an evolution as we've scaled, because it's been harder to stay connected. So I have to make a conscious effort to reach out to folks, because you can get caught up in the day-to-day grind of running a business, and as you scale up and grow, your responsibilities become bigger and bigger, and then it's tough to make it back to the stores every single day, or pick up the phone, or send an email, or send an internal chat. So you have to be really conscientious about doing that, and I think learning that and living that has been an adjustment for me. So I think that's been the biggest lesson, because when you go from an entrepreneur like you, and you have such an intimate relationship with your current employees and your customers, and that's so beautiful and wonderful. And I cherish those times as well, and I still yearn from them. And I wish I had the time to do what you're doing every day. So now I make a conscious effort to stay connected in some way, shape, or form every single day. Just the other day, I sent an Instagram message to one of my training clients that I started with almost 8 years ago, when the business was just at its infancy. And so I'll do things like that just to make sure that I still can feel what's going on. The heartbeat of the business is vitally important, and the heartbeat rests with your people, obviously your pets and your pet parents as well. You got to be listening to what all those groups are telling you all the time. Dogs aren't always going to talk to you in the way that your pet parents will, but they're going to talk. They're going to talk in their own way, and you will know whether or not they are pleased with the service that you're offering. And the people that are going to tell me whether or not the dogs are pleased are the people that are, doing the work every day, the daycare attendants, the groomers, the trainers.
Yeah, so true. I kind of said it better. And it's one thing I always say, I got into pet care because I love animals, and you end up honestly dealing with the people more, and it's just part of it. And it can be hard. I mean, there's days where I don't see anybody except my clients, my animals, am I talking to the families the whole time? Yeah. Like, I give updates, but it can also be when you come from a world where I had 40 employees, at NBC, and like a lot of buzz and a lot of meetings every day. And then I go in to a home and I take and walk a dog, or I go and see a cat. In the beginning, it was very, very isolating. I sometimes, would even miss my husband at night. Like, I'd be in bed already and he was just getting home from work. So that part of it too is tough. When you say you want to do pet care, you want to work with animals, like it's a lot more working with people, and there are really difficult days. I will say that. It's not all sunshine and dog walks and scooping litter boxes. That's one of my favorite things, is scooping the litter boxes. So yeah, I am still really in it.
Sarah, you got to get the litter robot now.
Yeah, I know. One of my clients had that. I'm like, why am I even here? No, I love that client. It is funny. But for people that maybe are thinking about this, and not necessarily like as your competition, obviously you've got a great thing going. What is your biggest piece of advice, do you think?
Well, I mean, if you're an entrepreneur and you're interested in getting into the pet business, I always say that you just got to start somewhere. So if you want to learn something about dog training, you can always get an apprenticeship. If you are interested in dog walking, well, go team up with a dog walking company and learn that business. If you want to be in the dog daycare business, go work as a daycare attendant, or as a customer service representative at the front desk at one of the stores of some dog daycare. I think learning on the job, especially for this particular business, is vitally important. But what you cannot do is get this mired down in planning, because if you just constantly are tweaking your plan, you're never going to execute. So I believe in doing. I think most entrepreneurs are doers, and so you're going to need to get out there and take action and get going on executing your plan, however difficult it might be for you, whether it's financially, personally. You've got to see it through. You've got to stay committed to doing it. And I can tell you what, like, I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I'm not the dumbest either. But one thing I am I'm an extremely dedicated and hardworking individual. So if I don't understand something and I want to understand it, I will continue, to seek out people who are experts. I will read. I will do whatever it is that is necessary to get myself educated on that particular subject so that I can become an expert myself. Now, you don't have to be an expert to start a business. You got to start somewhere, but you need to be evolving the entire time, because if you're not learning and growing and evolving, you're going to be stagnant, and you're going to end up essentially failing, because you're going to get frustrated. You're not going to see any growth. And that's, for any entrepreneur, that's definitely going to be something that kind of impedes you along the way. You have to have a growth mindset all the time.
Yeah, well said. And I will say, with Live Like Rue, in the beginning, I thought I was an expert at everything. And as soon as I brought on an accountant, which I should have brought on day one, a medical director, like as soon as I brought on those people, we got better instantly. And you have to, I think it comes with age too. Like, I think, when you age, you're not so hard headed about things, like thinking, everything about everything. And once you kind of let that go, it is a game changer. When you say, hey, I need to bring on somebody that's smarter and better than me. Like, they're not going to take over. They're going to help me. It's such a good point. And it, again, with age, sometimes I think you realize, okay, like I can't do all of this myself. But it's a tough lesson to learn. And I lost some good people in that period when I was trying to figure things out and thought that, it was my way or the highway. And that was really not true. Again, that was with Live Like Rue. So still learning kind of the pet care portion, but Dan, thank you. You've been a great guest. I learned a lot. I know my listeners will love you because they love to hear. I think I've been talking a lot about, the struggles with small business and the highs of running, now I'm running 2 businesses. It's definitely not easy, but it's so rewarding when you have the good days or when, you can change somebody's life. And in the pet care industry, especially now, what you do is so necessary, and doing it the right way and making sure that your clients and customers and your pets that you're servicing are in good shape is so important. I know as a pet owner, it's so hard. And that's why I started doing pet care. It's so hard to find somebody that you trust. So thank you for all you do. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, Sarah, thank you. I really appreciate it as well. It's been a pleasure to talk to you today, and I look forward to our next conversation.
Awesome. Check them out, pupspetclub.com, for all their locations and all their services. There's a ton on there. Thank you, Dan. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. I really appreciate it. A little shout out to our supporting sponsors. Thank you so much to our supporting sponsors. Give the gift of joy and memorable moments of furry loved ones with a gift card from Kimberly Kingen Photography. For more details, please visit her website at KimberlyKingen.com or contact her directly at her email, kimberly@kimberlykingen.com. The Canine PT is Chicago's highest rated dog physical therapy clinic, and they're dedicated to enhancing the lives of your 4-legged companions as they age or when recovering from an injury. They also offer a discount for rescue dogs. For more information, visit theK9PT.com. That's THEK9PT.com. Anything is Plausible is Chicago's premier dog training company. They offer group classes for every stage of your dog's life and have a talented team of behavior specialists to work through any issues that need modification using positive reinforcement. Check out Anything is Pausable. Liz Starks at Guaranteed Rate. Check with Liz for the absolute best mortgage options. She helps when others can't and even calls it rescue loans. Buyers, sellers, investors, give Liz a call. She can lend in all 50 states. NMLS number 224526. Thank you, supporting sponsors. As always, you guys can listen on your favorite podcast app after the live version airs every Thursday at 7 o'clock. Have a great night. Bye-bye.